I think that every system that can be put to test should be put to test, and that all decisions should be based upon research.
A resource-based economy is simply the scientific method applied to social concern, an approach utterly absent in the world today. Society is a technical invention, and the most efficient methods of optimized human health, physical production, distribution, city infrastructure, and the like reside in the field of science and technology, not politics or monetary economics. It operates in the same systematic way as, say, an airplane, and there is no Republican or liberal way to build an airplane. Likewise, nature itself is the physical referent we use to prove our science, and it is a set system, emerging only from our increased understanding of it. In fact, it has no regard for what you subjectively think or believe to be true. Rather, it gives you an option. You can learn and fall in line with its natural laws and conduct yourself accordingly, invariably creating good health and sustainability, or you can go against the current to no avail. It doesn't matter how much you believe you can just stand up right now and walk on the wall next to you. The law of gravity will not allow it. If you do not eat, you will die. If you are not touched as an infant, you will die. As harsh as it may sound, nature is a dictatorship, and we can either listen to it and come in harmony with it, or suffer the inevitable adverse consequences. So, a resource-based economy is nothing more than a set of proven, life-supporting understandings where all decisions are based upon optimized human and environmental sustainability. It takes into account the empirical life ground, which every human being shares as a need, regardless, again, of their political or religious philosophy. There is no cultural relativism to this approach. It isn't a matter of opinion. Human needs are human needs, and having access to the necessities of life, such as clean air, nutritious food, and clean water, along with a positively reinforcing, stable, nurturing, and non-violent environment, is demanded for our mental and physical health, our evolutionary fitness, and hence the species' survival itself.
A resource-based economy would be based upon available resources. You can't just bring a lot of people to an island or build a city of 50,000 people without having access to the necessities of life. So when I use the term a comprehensive systems approach, I'm talking about doing an inventory of the area first and determining what that area can supply, not just architectural approach, not just design approach, but design must be based on all of the requirements to enhance human life. And that's what I mean by an integrated way of thinking. Food, clothing, shelter, warmth, love, all those things are necessary. If you deprive people of any of them, you have a lesser human being, less capable of functioning.
You detail the difference between how we make decisions now as opposed to how decisions are arrived at in a resource-based economy.
Well, the decision-making system now is mainly based upon different industries which feel that they have a good product, so they advertise and convince people to buy that product. Whereas in the future, in a saner system, we would design products not to wear out and break down, to last as long as possible, so that the responsibility of the service sector would not be overloaded. The longer materials last, the less burdensome to society. Therefore, our major concern is not profit, it's the well-being of human beings throughout the world. To the degree that we neglect people, we hurt our own future. I think the best way to understand it was assuming that we found a planet similar to the Earth, with lots of resources, unspoiled waters, non-contaminated air, and brought a group of people together and asked, what is it that people really need? And then you list all the things that people really need. The next question is, can that planet provide for those needs? And if it cannot, you have to Base your needs on what the planet can provide. If the population is too large, the planet cannot provide for that enlarged population. Therefore, the size of the population would be built and based upon the carrying capacity of that regional division or the planet's capacity to produce sustainable materials. Therefore, we cannot invite billions of people to live on the new planet if the planet cannot sustain them. So when I say decisions have to be arrived at, first you have to study the carrying capacity of a planet, what it's capable of supporting. Then you design your cities and population densities so that they correspond to the carrying capacity of the environment. That's what I mean when I say people do not make decisions, they arrive at them. And how do you decide how much oxygen to carry on a submarine? Well, it depends on the amount of people in a submarine and how long you wish to be submerged. And that determines that. How do you know how much water to carry on a submarine? How do you know how much food to carry? How do you know how much electrical power? Depends on the performance you want of that submarine. Then you put in the proper electrical power for operating the submarine. You have to put in enough food and refrigeration equipment to feed the crew. If you don't provide for that, the technology may work, but the crew won't. So you have to not make decisions, you have to arrive at them.
That is a small portion of a talk about arriving at decisions is by survey and scientific method.